This Sunday is the fifth Sunday in the Lenten season, and it sort of brings to an end the main body of Lent. And of course, following that, we'll have Palm Sunday leading us into Holy Week. So Lent 5 is oftentimes we had Refreshment Sunday or Mothering Sunday, Laetare Sunday last week, mid-Lent, Lent 4, and then we have Holy Week next week. Lent 5 is often one of the darkest and kind of most penitential of the weeks. And yet, here in this cycle of our 3-year lectionary cycle, in year C, the gospel reading is this amazing story of Mary breaking the vessel, the alabaster box, and pouring the nard out and anointing Jesus' head and feet as if preparing him for burial. It's a really touching and intimate and poignant story. And it's matched with some equally interesting readings from the First Testament and from the epistles. And we're really going to spend a lot of time also focusing on the Isaiah passage that talks about our strength being in the Lord. And so you'll see those two themes, sort of the expression of faith that Mary had, as well as this very intimate story of her anointing Christ in preparation for burial. So a lot of very tender images and a lot of introspective qualities to our liturgy throughout the day. At the offertory, the choir will be singing a piece that is new to us by the British composer William Walton. William Walton was born right at the beginning of the 20th century, and he wrote this work, a litany, when he was just 14 years old. He originally wrote it for treble voices, and it was immediately successful, and thereafter he changed it just a little bit, elaborated it a little bit, and made it for 4-part adults. But it's using the text by Phineas Fletcher, drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet. And so it kind of picks up on some of the images of the Mary story with the alabaster box. It's funny in this setting by Walton, who of course went on to write Crown Imperial and a lot of really wonderful and very popular music. But here he is as a young teenager, 14 years old, and you can almost see that sort of impish daring that a 14-year-old might have. It starts off with a very unusual chord called an augmented triad. So instead of a major chord or a minor chord, this is augmented, and it has a little bit of a spooky feel. And you can hear those sopranos doing that drop, 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 with that very affecting sort of descent on those words drop. And then once he gets into the main body, it turns into sort of a conventional E minor. So it does have sort of a conventional E minor quality to it, but a lot of dissonance. Again, it's sort of as if this young budding composer wanted to show the world all of the tricks in his bag. But a very interesting setting and very much focused on these words by this 17th century, early 17th century Anglican priest and poet. Phineas Fletcher we don't know a lot of his poetry now, but in fact, he left behind more poems than really anyone other than Spenser from the era. So he really wrote a lot. We just don't read a lot of it these days, except this really wonderful gem from that Elizabethan time. At the communion, we'll also be singing a hymn that sort of picks up again on the intimacy of the story in the gospel. Here, O my Lord, I see thee face to face. Again, the product of another Church of England clergyman, Horatius Bonar, who was active up in the north of Great Britain and on into Scotland for part of his career. It's matched in our hymnal with a tune that was written by an American, Warren Swenson, and he named the tune, Nyack, after the town where he was the musician at the Episcopal Church. It's a really lovely tune. It's very song-like, and it's easy to sing as we have these very tender words about intimacy with Christ in the Eucharistic meal. So I hope you'll pay special attention to those words as we sing those together at the communion. And we invite you to join with us as we worship here at St. John's on this fifth Sunday in Lent.